Talym Rend was a former spy master for the Third Empire, who played a part in infiltrating and gathering information on the Worm Cult. He volunteered for the mission after the cult killed his partner. Little did Talym know that the cult happened to kidnap his son, and demanded that he sacrifice his own son to prove his loyalty to them. During this mission, his son Novos died, and Talym would then leave the cult and quit his position as a spy master to bury his son in Morrowind. His pain became too much of a burden at this point, and he resorted that the only solution was to travel to the Shivering Isles, obviously. On his way to Cyrodiil's Niben Bay to journey through the portal to New Sheoth, his coin purse was stolen by a thief named Cyril, and that is important for later. After arriving in New Sheoth, Sheogorath rejected an audience with Talym, due to finding that Talym was boring. Sheogorath's chamberlain, Haskill, recommended Talym achieve some tasks within the Isles to entertain the Daedric Prince. So first, Talym rescued the thief from earlier from a giant, and then next he went on to Note Hollow to rescue the orc bard Luzra Groshar from a spell trapping her in the cave. Lastly, an Altmer mage named Rayvat tasked Talym to beat up his stalker, Tavar. As it turns out, Tavar was a separate personality of Rayvat, and Talym, after informing Rayvat of this, forced him to go, well, it drove him insane. Then, the insane or enraged Rayvat attacked Talym, who was then forced to kill him after revealing the truth. Sheogorath was thoroughly entertained by this point and summoned Talym to the palace. The Dunmer mortal proposed a deal to Sheogorath: removal for his memories involving his son's death for driving 3 individuals mad. Sheogorath, being Sheogorath, manipulated Talym's memory to convince him that his son was alive but he was going to be fighting for his son's sanity. Necrum was the first destination, and the target was a famed Khajiit assassin named Zanar Tabav. Sheogorath selected Tabav because he felt that Tabav was, quote-unquote, not losing sleep over his work, and that was rude. The thief, Cyril, and the bard, Luzra, were then summoned by Sheogorath to help aid Talym, and they convinced Tabav to essentially believe that his long-dead victims were coming back to haunt him. They snuck into Tabav's trophy room and donned the armor and weapons of his victims, and as they appeared, Talym used a soul gem given by Haskill to release the ghosts of Necrum, and Tabav would break down, flee, and go crazy as a paranoid recluse. The second target was Baron Navir, who Sheogorath thought was too spoiled. Talym championed Navir as, quote, the Prince of Prophecy, end quote, and Navir believed Talym to be an inferior peasant who had no business speaking to him, yet, for some reason, entertained the idea, and decreed that his Kwama would go on to lay golden eggs, and that his rival, Malil, would have his land ravaged by his own netches, and that a blizzard would occur in the middle of summer. So, as such, Talym began to move. First, he decided that he was going to paint the Kwama eggs gold, because obviously that would work. And then to drive the Netches crazy, he scared them, and the Betty Netches went on to go scare the Bull Netches, and then they destroyed the land. The third task was done when Talym succeeded to steal a Telvanni magical amplifier from a tower, and then caused it to snow in the middle of the summer. Navir, now convinced that he was amazing and having his ego even more inflated than before, decided to attack Malil, and then won, even further inflating his already bloated ego. And at this point, Navir convinced himself that he could fly, and then jumped off a cliff, flapping his arms, and fell to his death. Luzra at this point was so disgusted by this act that she left, parting ways with Talym and breaking her bond with Sheogorath. The last target led Talym and Cyril to Skyrim for the last target. It was his former superior, Portia Loran, and while Talym begged the prince to change his mind and change the target, he refused, and then decided he was only going to give him 3 days to do the job. Talym and Cyril would then break into the Dwemer ruins of Bathardams to use its toxin. However, Cyril disagreed with Talym's plan, and after an argument, she refused to take part in any sort of slaughter. Now, Talym by himself decided he was going to go plant a fake antidote recipe in the ruins, and lured Loren to the ruins. She was captured by the Reachmen, and then freed by Talym, And when he convinced her that he was there to help her, they went and found the recipe and returned to Loren's garrison and marched on the ruins. When the Reachmen used the toxins, the two armies tore each other apart, leaving Loren alone to fall into madness. Now, Talym returned to Sheogorath only to find out that his son was dead. Loren refused to receive Talym at first, and his unanswered questions began to drive him mad. Luzra attempted to rescue him at this point, but he thought she was some kind of creature and decided to attack her in his own insanity. Once he did attack her, though, he snapped out of it and eventually learned of an artifact that could help him from her. The librarian of Jiggalag, Dias, informed him that the Sword of Jiggalag may grant Talym an audience with Sheogorath. Upon doing so, he confronted Sheogorath alone, and as a reward, Sheogorath granted him the Memory Wand, but decided he was then going to mock Talym's reasons for wanting it, and in his anger, Talym used it on Sheogorath, forcing him to recall memories of his own life as Jiggalag. Sheogorath begged him to stop, and even released Talym, Serial, and Luzra from his influence, and promised never to bother him again. After beating Sheogorath at his own game, he returned to Morrowind to plot his revenge on the Worm Cult. Whether or not Sheogorath decided to ever go back on his word is unknown. And to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if he did, because he's Sheogorath. But that is all we know. And this is certainly a very interesting topic. I decided to cover it before the theory video because it's really, his whole story is a fascinating topic, and the fact that it's part of Legends, which in my opinion probably isn't as well explored as, say, things like obviously Skyrim or Morrowind or Oblivion. So I decided to go into it because I was very interested and intrigued by the story. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and you want more stuff from Legends, please leave a comment or a like down below and let me know about future topics, or if you just want more about Legends, and I'll figure stuff out from there. And I hope to see you guys in the Discord chat with the link in the description below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace. If you enjoyed, please like this video because it really lets me know you're enjoying this content. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. The links are right here for you to click on, and the Discord chat link is right here as well. And overall, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.